Hello, everybody. So for this video discussion that we're going to be having to do for this, it's basically asking us to describe an element of basically anything that was important during this fundamentalist or modernist, especially with the different controversies relating to it. I don't know, maybe some will probably go with Scope's trial. Maybe some of y'all actually have maybe something else in mind with it. I still kind of went with like what was suggested, and I was just kind of curious to actually understand the person that was suggested within it. So I went with J. Frank Norris, and let's just say that he was very, very interesting. We'll just put it like that. But we already know, especially from some of the readings for this week and even some stuff from last week, talks a little bit into this fundamentalist and modernist. It's kind of like this liberal versus conservative side with basically the religions, especially some that were super fundamental within scripture, within the Bible and stuff, talking about creationism versus like this more science and more modern perspective with it. So I actually have a couple of things, especially one from like one of the articles about J. Frank Norris. He was over in Texas. He was well known within the Baptist community, and he was a super fundamentalist. Especially for him, he basically was all for like creationism, everything within the Bible, and especially with like his way, he was basically super, let's just say, basically kind of like very defensive and aggressive toward this view, especially how it did really cause a whole bunch of tension between the two. He was also, I've actually read within the article, page 374, it says influenced by Haydenites as well, especially how he was growing up, going through that. Now, for this though, he was super controversial, especially how he was basically, let's say, tried for murder. So that was interesting whenever I was trying to read about this man. So he was tried for murder in 1926. He did plead self-defense, and he pleaded that he was not guilty and stuff, and he was acquitted. So he was doing that. So he was just kind of controversial, especially with the way that he went out, super like the ego and just everything like that. Basically, he was basically like this huge enigma in a way, if you want to say it like that. There was several things, especially with like the murders, especially with like the newspapers. I actually found one, especially with like the Alaska Daily Empire, just kind of grabbed one because nothing from the Library of Congress actually had much of anything besides that. So it actually talked about as like one of the main titles, Texas pastor murders man under arrest. So that was that. But I did find one that was from the Jewish Monitor, and he was actually for the Jewish community as well. So he was actually very vocal about that. He didn't really try to judge any others as well when it comes to that as well. But he was like a supporter of the Jewish community. He expressed it in one of his letters within that newspaper as well. And that was in February 18th, 1921. So a couple of years before he was basically, in a way, like in a trial for murder. So that was that. So that is all that I really have. And thank you for watching.